What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Exciting news in the NFL. You guys know I'm a big Jaire Alexander fan. I think Jaire is the third best corner in the league when he's healthy. I think Patrick Surtain is the best. I think Stingley is number two. I think fully healthy Jaire is the third best corner in the league. Shout out to Sauce and the rest of them. I think he's that great. He just got released by Green Bay. And we mentioned this on an episode almost 2 months ago and just kind of let it rock because we heard no news about Jaire. He was still with Green Bay, wanted the contract extension. They weren't really making it work, but we assumed something would happen. He's too good for nothing to happen. Well, evidently, they couldn't come to a contract. So he has been released, which means he's just floating, right? Now, the question is, should the Dolphins pursue him? Obviously, y'all know how I feel. I think he's the third best corner in the league fully healthy. He has not been healthy, which is why he's getting released and why he wanted, I'm guessing, money right under Stingley. And Green Bay was like, well, you haven't been playing. So, no, it's not going to give you the money. You haven't been on the field. But he's saying, when I play, I'm awesome, which is true. We've seen it firsthand, Dolphins. Last time he played Tua, he got a pick and almost housed it. We've seen it, right? So, he's obviously very good. But he's been injury prone. And because he wants money, that may be the complication with the Dolphins situation. Because this would be a corner we can get without having to give up assets for it. And he immediately is a top of the market level corner. There's only like 5 or 6 of those guys in the league. He is one of those people. We don't know the contract that he was trying to work on with Green Bay. Again, I'm guessing he wanted at least $25 million a year, up to 30. Because he got released, whatever contract he gets, I imagine will be either a really big 1-year deal or a 2-year contract that's got good money behind it. So if the Dolphins really want to make a move at him, they would have to make some other moves. Obviously, Ramsey will have to be gone. They may have to do something with Tyreek, maybe restructure Waddle, maybe restructure Tua to make it happen. But if they think, hey, this is our generational, next 5-6 year cornerback, cornerstone to our secondary, we want to make the move, then I do think they can make it happen. He obviously wants to go to a team that's contending. He obviously wants to get paid. There's not a lot of teams that fit in both, right? He went to college with Lamar Jackson at Louisville. Baltimore needs a second corner because Nate Wiggins is young and cheap and still very good. They just made another move from Malachi Starks, and we know what Kyle Hamilton is, the best safety in football. So you add him to that secondary. They now have a very complete secondary. Now, Baltimore's money, a little funny. They will probably need Lamar to make some kind of contract restructuring. I don't know what's happening there, but again, they went to college together. There's obviously a friendship. Buffalo has awful corners right now. Good defense overall. The offense basically unmatched. So Buffalo always in the running. We don't want to see Buffalo get Jaire because that would be devastating. And then, of course, you have teams like the Rams. The Rams have been very much in the conversation with Jalen Ramsey. Jaire Alexander, I think at this point, is probably better than Jalen, but he's less healthy. So you're kind of in this weird situation where if we want Ramsey, we want somebody that's going to be good for the next 2 years so we know it's going to be pretty healthy to play. If you get Jaire, you're kind of rolling the dice. So if the Dolphins make the move to get Jaire, which I think they should, it should be caution. I would do 1 year big contract. 1 year, 20, maybe 22 type million, and maybe incentives to get him higher, meaning you get like 6 to 8 picks, another million. You make a Pro Bowl, million, all pro, couple million. So maybe it can get up to the level of a PS2 or Derek Stingley, right? I would not just say here's $30 million. We don't have that kind of money to spend. But I love, y'all know this, prove it contracts. Hey man, you've been hurt a lot. I can't give you a 3-year deal, $75 million. I don't know if you're going to be around most of the time, but you are really good. So here's 1 big year. You ball out, there's more where that came from. You're still young enough. We still think the top end talent is there. He's a ball hawk. He's also kind of a jerk on defense, which I like as a cornerback and sometimes in D lineman. I don't want you to be great and just Mr. Hey, nice play. I do kind of like antagonizing corners. I do like getting in your face because they can get receivers off their game. We've seen it. We've seen from the OBJs. We've seen like the Des Bryants. We've seen even Andre Johnson and Cortland. I don't know what Cortland's last name was. But we've seen them get into it where, hey, you push the receiver enough, it can get there, right? Jaire's got that. He's got that personality. He'll just keep jabbing the bear, and at some point you may want to try to put hands on him. But I think he would be awesome. I'm a big fan, and we will see how the market is for him. Now, we got to continue talking about corners because recently the Dolphins have been re-linked to Rasul Douglas. Now, you guys know he came in for a workout, and we offered him a contract, and he said, "Nah, I'm going to work out for Seattle." Worked out for Seattle, didn't get the contract. So I don't know what their contract offer to him was in comparison to ours. None of these numbers have been released. We just know that we gave him an offer. He felt insulted enough to not like stay and work it out. He just left. Seattle needs a corner. Their secondary is pretty solid. Their coach Mike McDonald, really good defensive coordinator, coach, defensive coordinator, whatever you want to call him at this point. He does both, but great at that job. Needed a corner, and then he didn't get the offer. So now Rasul is back on the market. And now the question is, with Jaire being on the open market, how does that affect Rasul's price? Because I saw him as a tier 2, maybe middle tier 2 corner, which means that on a great defense, he would be your number 2 corner. On an defense in the secondary, he'll be your number 1. There's like 6 or 7 guys who I think no matter where they are, DB1. Everybody else, kind of depends, right? To me, he's a depends guy. Asante Samuel, I think, is also in this category where he will be a low end 1, high end 2. So Rasul obviously thought, I'm turning 30. I need to get some money. Makes sense to me. Dolphins probably offered him a couple years. I'm going to guess it around 20-ish million for both years combined. I would think he wants more than that, maybe up to 15 million a year. Now that Jaire's on the market, Jaire's a better player than Rasul Douglas is. But Rasul generally is more healthy, although he wasn't healthier last year. So now they're both in an injury situation. Jaire's top end talent is higher. He probably wants more top end money. I think if the Dolphins start publicly flirting with Jaire, it can drive down the Rasul cost, right? Because if people want a Rasul that bad, he would already be picked up, right? He's been a free agent this whole time, floating around. All the draft came and went. Teams went big on corners. Nobody went after him. I've heard about the Dolphins in Seattle. I've heard a lot of other teams making moves at him. Jaire, I think, will command a lot more attention because a lot of teams think, hey, he could be the missing piece. Look at a team like Washington. They went out and got the Saints corner last year. Completely forgot his name in a second. But they went and got him last year, and he didn't pan out. But they made a move, right? I think Jaire is another person like that. So if Rasul Douglas' price comes down, that's good for us because that means that we can come back almost with the same offer. Maybe slightly tweak, like, hey, we offered you 2 years, $10 million a year. We'll put 11.5. Like, we don't have to jump much higher than our number. And I'm saying 10 because I think like that's a good number for a second corner. If the top end corner is 20 plus, I think 10 to 12 for your number 2 corner. If you think he's like top end is good. Lower than 10, you kind of get into that bubble two guy. So I'm saying 10 million a year. I don't have reporting on that. If we offered them that and he said no, went out, couldn't get paid the market, honestly, the Dolphins could almost balk at him and say, hey, you can't find a better offer because if you could, you would have. Maybe they can tack on a 3rd year. Like, we're offering you 2 years, 20. What about 3 for 30? 20 guaranteed, which effectively is still a 2-year, $20 million contract. But that extra year is like if you ball out for 2 years, you get a 3rd year, maybe we extend you. We can kind of figure the numbers out. I think extra years and guaranteed money is a big deal for guys now. So maybe adding an extra year, but the same like year-over-year average could be able to get some over the top. I think this is actually a good power position for the Dolphins because now with Jaire right there, we know we can try to get rid of Ramsey. Those are the 2 top guys on the market. We should get some assets back for Jalen. Maybe that can help us try to get Jaire. We'll see. But at the very least, if Jaire is bringing the price up, I think Rasul's price goes down. And I think we could be able to pick him up, which would be great. And hopefully without, breaking the bank or having any long-term super commitments to him. Because, again, he is older, but he is solid. Mandatory OTAs are about to start, and this is when people who have contract issues really get brought to the forefront. Because people say, hey, you should be here. It's mandatory. So if you're not here, you're holding out, you're losing money because every day you don't show up to mandatory OTAs, you get dock pay. And that's what happens to guys who want money but don't want to get hurt. Because you can get hurt in OTAs, and that throws off all your bargaining chips, right? So they asked Drew Rosenhaus, who's Jonnu Smith's agent, hey, what's up with Jonnu and mandatory OTAs? And he was just kind of like, we'll just kind of see what happens. And Yeah. Basically, didn't say anything. He said it's a fluid situation when I don't know where fluid and mandatory come in. Those two words don't belong together. You can't say, hey, you showing up for your mandatory press conference? I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, life's pretty fluid. No, no, no. It's a yes or a no. It's mandatory. You showing up or not? It's, oh, we'll show up if we get the contract, is what he's trying to say. Oh, did you give me a new deal? Nah, I'm still fluid, man. I'm still floating. Oh, you did give me the contract. Cool, I'll be here tomorrow. That's what I heard. That was a good way of saying, if we get our money, we will be here. If we don't, we will not be here. But he didn't want to say that because he didn't probably want to make Jonnu the enemy. We know how contracts go. Tua did it last year. Tua was like, hey, man, not showing up out of contract. He just stood 10 toes on his. Because once he saw that contract go to Jordan Love, he was like, oh, Jordan Love got money? I ain't showing up. I'm not doing it. In Jonnu's case, there's no tight end like in this past like year cycle that's gotten a big deal that he can like say I'm as good as that person paid me. It's just that he's lowly played based on his position. But this is obviously a if you pay me, I'll show up. If you don't, I won't kind of situation. Jonnu's under contract though, and he's not making a ton enough this year that he can take all these fines. So I do think if the Dolphins just stall him out, he will show up at some point. Even if he shows up and just kind of on the sideline wearing like, a jersey and doing catching drills, he's there. Because he can't afford to be just dropping thousands a day because he's only making 4.8. That's not enough money to just not show up. So I don't believe he's getting a contract from the Dolphins. And I don't know what the Steelers are doing. They got Aaron Rodgers now, so I don't. They may be making a move for it. There's a lot of offers out there for Jonnu. Like I think a lot of teams are kicking the tires on it, but we don't hear anything imminently happening. So if he doesn't show up, he's just getting docked money. The Dolphins are happy to play this game. We are like, hey, you're under contract. You're either going to show up or get docked. And they don't seem to be moving particularly quickly to give him a contract extension or give him more money. And until we figure out the cornerback and Jalen Ramsey situation, we don't really have money to give him anyway. So it's fluid, but it's money. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. You guys have been crushing it. We're almost at 1.5 thousand followers, which is crazy to me, but thank y'all for everything you've done so far. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.